Hey guys, and welcome back to the BS Society. So, while this video is going to be thrown into the Girls Frontline Issues folder, this is more of a Girls Frontline discussion video because this kind of proved my point that I've been trying to make throughout pretty much all of my videos on this channel at this point. Alright, because pretty much all I've talked about is gacha games. I haven't really mentioned much about politics or anything. So, this is pretty much all about gacha games. Alright. The commenter that mentioned the recovery system to me, we ended up having like another set of comments to each other that was basically talking about why that player would no longer play Azur Lane, and also my reasons on why I would pick Azur Lane over Girls Frontline if I had to choose. The things that that player said was that Azur Lane is boring. You know, like basically the mobs are kind of repetitive, which is very much true. If you look at the mob setup across different events and, you know, like the main stages and stuff, you'll notice that they're pretty much exactly the same all the time. You know, like the individual ships, like, you know, the ship girls, the sirens and stuff, those might be different, but in general, like the basic mass produced ships, they'll always be the same. And it's a massive problem that the game faces. And then he also added that Azur Lane has too high of a storage for him. He wouldn't be willing to have an 8 gigabyte storage being taken away by basically a 2D gacha game. Makes sense. Now, I kind of agree with him on that Azur Lane can be boring and repetitive because, again, you have the same mob fleets over and over and over and over. You know, um, basically the only difference is the boss fleet, which is also usually set up the exact same way all the time. But then the boss will have like different shooting mechanics. But if you have high evasion on your ships and don't take a lot of damage, the bosses are kind of the same too. So, yeah. But basically, I told him that I think the problem is that Azur Lane is more oriented towards casual players. The reason why Azur Lane has such a high storage, and I think at this point now, I think it's like 12 gigabytes, not 8. The reason why Azur Lane has such a high storage is because you have 500 plus ships plus pretty much a skin for almost every single one of them with the exceptions of rares and commons. And you know, some of the elites and SSR ships don't have skins, but at this point, pretty much every single ship that releases has a skin now. Every single skin has unique dialogue lines. So, unlike in Girls Frontline, when you buy a skin, the skins don't come with any extra dialogue. It's just the skin. In Azur Lane, when you buy a skin, on launch, it might not have dialogue, but eventually it will have dialogue. Okay? And it might be a couple extra lines, or it might be their entire dialogue set. Okay? So there is a reason why it's 8 gigabytes, or even 12 gigabytes, because it's pretty much all being taken up by dialogue. Not only that, but also high quality art. To me, Azur Lane has higher quality art than Girls Frontline because Azur Lane focused on skins more than Girls Frontline did. Okay, something I just forgot about while I was watching the video is that the other reason why Azur Lane has a lot of storage space being taken up is because every single story dialogue is saved in the game. This is something that not a lot of gacha games do. I think Epic 7 and Destiny Child are the only other two gacha games that I've seen that save every single dialogue, which means when the event ends, you can still go back and look at the story. So that is another reason why there's so much space being taken up by Azur Lane. To me, Girls Frontline is more oriented towards hardcore strategy players. The reason I say this is because you can turn off heavy damage protection. Heavy damage protection basically forces your dolls to leave when they get heavily damaged, but if you turn that off, they can die. When your T-dolls die on a non-boss battle or a non-simulation battle, they lose 10 affection points for the doll that dies and 5 affection points for everybody else. So you're losing in total 25 affection points. And if the entire echelon dies, then everybody loses 10 affection. Okay? And it's a pain to get that back. All right? Unless you have like cakes or something that can kind of get it back really quick, it's a pain. Compared to Azur Lane, when a ship dies, that ship loses 10 morale. And everybody else will just lose 2 for the battle. And the only time affection goes down in Azur Lane is if you make them battle when they're under, when they're at 0 morale. That's basically it. All right? Azur Lane doesn't have a repair system. All right? Which means having better strategy in Girls Front Line means that your dolls get damaged less and you don't have to wait as much. Right? So there's more of an emphasis on strategy. So Azur Lane kind of focuses more on casual players. And you'll even see a lot of players in chat generally not even playing the game. The only thing they really do on Azur Lane is sit in world chat and stare at their ship girls. And buy new skins and then log off for the day and go do something else. They don't even play the game. And even me, I kind of casually play Azur Lane. Both Azur Lane and Girls Front Line, the reason why I like the two games so much is that you have so much time that you can kind of just not have to play the game for, that it's amazing. Compared to Honky and Arknights, where I have to log on every single fucking day, or else I'm just going to be energy capped. Right? So Azur Lane and Girls Front Line kind of ease the burden on how much you have to play, so they're not as tedious to get on. Honky I've been debating on quitting, probably because I've been playing it for 2 years straight. And I just need a break from the game, but I can't get one because of the energy. And so the only way I'm going to get one is by quitting. Right? The whole point of this video, though, okay? Actually, before I get to the point, I kind of want to mention my reason on why I would quit Girls Front Line and keep Azur Lane. I'm more of a casual player, if you can't tell by my team setups. I've had a few comments back on my first set of videos talking about Girls Front Line, basically telling me that my team setups suck. And yeah, they do. They were set up when I started the game pretty much a year ago. I'm pretty much level 100 commander level now, and I haven't changed them. Okay, so I am very, very much casually playing this game. Okay. So when I run across a difficult stage, I kind of don't want to do it. As you can tell, I'm farming this stage right now instead of the last stage, even though I still need one of the last T-dolls, simply because I don't want to get my dolls killed. Okay. I'm not that much of a strategist. I have a really hard time playing Arknights, but I still enjoy playing it. For me, I like having strategy and moderation. I can't just sit there and play it all the time. And that's why I would pick Azur Lane over Girls Front Line. Not counting the fact that I feel like Azur Lane is a little less time consuming sometimes than Girls Front Line, because I feel like I can't just auto battle on Girls Front Line. I mean, you can see how much in the menus I'm switching back and forth between repairing and the main stages, just because there's that much going back and forth. Azur Lane, once you're done on an auto battle, you can just click the button again. And you got world chat while you're while you're playing auto battle, so you have something else to do in the game while your units are doing something else. Right? So pretty much because of the casual nature of Azur Lane, I would pick Azur Lane over Girls Front Line. Now, the point of this entire video is that me and this player have two different reasons on why we would quit the two different games. Okay? There are so many different reasons on why players would quit a game. Storage space, the gameplay, the strategy. Well, that's gameplay. The art, um, storage space, gameplay, art. How well does the game function? How pricey is all the stuff? How much energy do you get? How much can you play the game? How many gems or skystones or whatever? How much gacha currency do you get? How many characters do you get? Can you get the skins for the characters in a decent amount of time? And that right there is another reason on why I would pick Azur Lane over Girls Frontline, because simply I can spend less money. I can spend less money on hold on a second. I went the complete wrong direction. I can spend less money on Azur Lane and get so many more skins, right? So that's just a simple another reason why I would quit Girls Frontline. So there are many reasons on why a player would quit a certain game. And especially when you only have so much storage space and so much time, you're going to have to pick eventually. Eventually, I'm going to get a job, and I'm not going to be able to play Girls Frontline. Okay? That's why I've been debating on quitting Honky, because right now, Honky is a major stump in my daily activities for gacha games. And when I get a job, I might not be able to play it at all. Right? So I'm debating on quitting it because of that. Not counting the issues in MiHoYo. So I kind of call them nitpicky reasons, but like the storage and a game being boring isn't necessarily nitpicky. But when you only have so much time in storage, you do kind of start getting nitpicky on why you would quit a game. Okay? And the reason why I'm making all these videos is so that way Girls Frontline, and eventually I'm going to do it for Azur Lane too, they can fix these very nitpicky reasons so that way they are a lot more competitive with each other. So that way it's a lot harder for somebody to actually want to quit both games, and makes it a much harder decision. That's the goal, is so that way your players don't quit the game. Okay? Because when players quit a game, even hardcore players, once they quit, it's really hard for them to come back. I mean, hardcore players might come back because of like nostalgia reasons, but casual players and players that like just started the game, once they quit, they're likely never coming back. Unless somebody's talking about it like 3 years later, and then it's like, you know what, I might give it a chance again, but, and like this dude mentioned that Azur Lane had 8 gigabytes. I think it's up to like 12 now. Which means it's been a very long time since they played Azur Lane. Probably since its beginning. So, I know people hate hearing somebody bitch about their favorite game. Trust me, I know. When people were bitching about MiHoYo when Genshin first came out, I was defending MiHoYo. Because they made my favorite game called Honkai Impact. I don't defend them anymore. Because that's how much they pissed me off. You could probably call me a semi-hardcore Honkai player. But I'm at my wit's end. And if I do decide to quit Honky, it will be a very long time before I go back. If I go back. And it's coming down to very, very nitpicky reasons, like stamina, like MiHoYo, how much bundles are worth. It's coming down to very, very nitpicky reasons on why I might quit Honky. And keep in mind, that's a 3D anime game, not a 2D anime game. Okay? You don't want players quitting because of nitpicky reasons. You don't want your players to get annoyed to the point that they quit. And players quit all the time for various different reasons. And so the reason why I'm making all these videos for Girls Frontline, the reason why I want to make videos for Azur Lane, for Honky, for Epic 7, for Genshin, So that way players quit less. So that way the company can make more money even if they really don't care about making more money. It's just basic principles. And if you want to hate on somebody, well, I really wouldn't say hate, but if you don't want to listen to somebody because they're hating on your favorite game, they're hating on your favorite developers, and I wouldn't really say hating, I really would say more like criticizing, okay? If you don't even want to listen to them because of that, don't get mad when the game dies. Don't get mad when the server shut down because you failed to listen to what somebody else had to say. And keep in mind, at the end of the day, this is all just my opinion. These are all my suggestions on what could change in the game. You know, like the gym issue, they could easily add gyms to events. Um, they could add stuff that makes it easier for players to progress in the game. If they add things that make it easier, players would quit less. And if you don't want that stuff to be added to the game because you don't want your game to change, look, Girls for Online has changed a lot over the last few years. I don't think a few extra changes to help people progress in the game faster would be all that much. And it would definitely keep a lot more players in and a lot more players spending money than the ones that are leaving already. So thank you, commenter, for proving my point. And with this long video out of the way, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.